there is a valuable free resource for residents across the region that can prove critical. The North Texas Poison Center is located at Parkland Health in Dallas, and teams there handle tens of thousands of calls each year. Vanya Roble is a public health educator with the North Texas Poison Center. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and let's start with one of the hazards of this winter season, carbon monoxide. A lot of people are using heaters, fireplaces to stay warm. What do they need to keep in mind?
Yeah, so carbon monoxide is very serious, very dangerous poisoning. And so, if we can recall the 2021 winter storm, there was an influx of calls, carbon monoxide poisoning calls, all over the state where a dozen people passed away. And then hundreds of people also presented with carbon monoxide exposure. And so that is a very serious thing if it's not treated right away.
And tell me about the detectors that people should use, because there are different types, right?
Yeah, there's different types of detectors. The smoke and carbon monoxide ones that are up in the ceilings, but the ones that are highly suggested are the plug-in ones in the wall, because carbon monoxide is a heavier gas, and so it rises from the bottom to the top. So by the time it gets to the top where the smoke detectors are in the ceiling, it's a little too late. You will start experiencing symptoms. So it's better to make sure to have those plugins and get alerted earlier rather than later.
Yeah, and talk about those symptoms. What are some of the signs and symptoms that people should be looking out for?
Yeah, some of the symptoms include, again, fatigue, headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and the best way to kind of get free of those symptoms immediately is to get fresh air if you start noticing them immediately.
And carbon monoxide is just one of many calls your team deals with. So what are some of the most common calls that come into the North Texas Poison Center?
Yeah, some of the common calls are over 50% of them are parents calling in because their little ones get into things that they're not supposed to. Of course, they're exploring their world. And then the other half of the calls are medication, whether it's medication interactions or questions about their medicines, things like that. So it really varies.
Yeah, and so some of these calls can be quite urgent. Walk us through what is done in those cases.
Yeah, if it's urgent, then, of course, we'll ask, how age is the patient? Where is the patient located? What are their symptoms? All those things. And so based on the clinical assessment our specialists in poison information gather, then they're able to determine, hey, these symptoms are actually pretty dangerous and life-threatening. You need to go to the emergency right now.
And let's talk about the North Texas Poison Center as a community resource. Beyond answering these calls, what are some of the things that you're involved in?
Yeah, so as a public health educator, we go out into the communities that we serve. So we serve 42 counties in North Texas. So I'm all over the place in these counties. We go into schools, community organizations, workplaces as well to educate the community in poison prevention. It's just a good way to spread the word.
Vanya Roble, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, here is the number to know. Reach the North Texas Poison Center at 1-800-222-1222.